Some of the things you learn every day.
Yeah, yeah. Reggie Fils-Aimé is Haitian. So with that being said, let's dive into it. And we are live with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. But before we go any further, let's have the lady introduce herself and then the gentleman, and then we'll dive into it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome to the BS Busters Ugly Podcast. I'm Joe Starr, and welcome to the leap year edition of BS Busters.
All right. And, Kenoshi?
This is Kenoshi Abominito here to say, stay away from punchkis. They're gross.
Who?
They're freaking gross. Punchkis, or however you pronounce them, not good. Not good.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You know those donuts they're selling that Tuesday?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those
things are gross.
Those hot cross bun things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots to be desired from those things.
they aren't that good. I'm not gonna lie. Like hot cross buns aren't terrible within of themselves, but
They need flavor.
They have no flavor.
well, I mean, the only thing you've got is they put the donuts in there, which is nice. You know, they put the raisins in there, which is,
Yeah.
That's a small list of pluses, Red.
I mean, it's like, okay, that's nice. You put the donut. I mean, you put the raisins in there, and then they cover it with icing in the form of a cross, which I guess is cool. But
Mm.
if you like it, you like it. That's basically all I'm saying. So with that being said, let's dive into it with the first
News of the month.
Well, I mean, the news of the week thus far. So basically, the first one I'm putting up here is this is China. This is China. And these are Chinese gamers themselves. Okay, there's an article. These are Chinese gamers. Now, I don't know if this is on Nintendo or Tencent or a combination of both. But anyway, this came out on the 26th, so that was Thursday.
This week, basically.
Sorry, Wednesday. So the Switch launched in China a couple months back, courtesy of a collab between Nintendo and Tencent. Since then, fans have been getting more and more upset with the lack of support the platform has received. Believe it or not, even though the system has been available for roughly 2 months, just one game has officially launched. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe was up for grabs on day one, and that's all customers have had to play. Along with that, Switch owners are angry with how online services are being handled in China, as they cannot access the eShop in other regions and can't play with players in other countries. Things have gotten so bad that a complaint collection service in Japan has seen the phrase 10-cent Nintendo Switch false advertisement shoot to the top of their complaints list. Hopefully 10-cent speaks out soon and offers some insight on what's to come.
I'm going to say this right now. Even though both you and me have issues with Nintendo on this part, I'd say this is more on a Tencent level. Because this is some of China's issues, since
let me
I
put
feel
it
like...
way. All right. Normally, I would say it's equally shared amongst both of them, but I'm going to say it's partially on Nintendo because, as a matter of fact, in my opinion, a little bit more on Nintendo because let's keep it real, okay?
You're going to say it.
There's tons of games that they could put on that system. There's tons of games they could put on that system that are not, in any way, shape, or form offensive to China, like Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze.
Excuse me, you do know that they had to change the names for the Pokemon in China and some stuff, right?
I understand that, but I mean, those other games could have been there. Day one. You mean to tell me?
Yeah.
You mean to tell
So
me
I'm
this
telling
shit
you, like,
launched? This shit launched.
This is more on Tencent than Nintendo, as far as I can tell, because if anything, this is what China is doing, and it's basically more their restrictions than Nintendo's.
This shit launched with one fucking game. And I could see it would be understandable if the system launched in China at the same time as it launched everywhere else. But there's tons of games for the system right now. There's no excuse for them only to have one fucking game on the system. I mean, I'm sorry.
And tell me, what kind of law does China have to restrict what is accessed in that region?
I have no idea.
Seriously.
To be honest with you...
this is the reason why I say it's more than Tencent, because you're having to deal with that law more than anything else.
If it was 4 years ago, before China revoked their console policies, where they started allowing foreign consoles into the country and their games, I would agree with you. But since that was 3 or 4 years ago, that law was still in place, I would say yes, it's on Tencent. But that law has been revoked. There's nothing preventing these games, especially some of the more innocuous games.
Have you seen Blizzard lately?
Yeah, but Blizzard has
You're making this too easy for me to hit you with over and over again.
Not really. I mean, you're gonna say it's on Tencent. I'm saying that the blame is partially on both of them. It's on Nintendo and Tencent.
What's going on? What is Tencent doing exactly?
Basically, the only way
Tencent's getting in everybody's cookie jar, really, if you think about it. So I know it's gonna be ugly.
Okay, so basically what's going on in China is that in order for a foreign company to do business in China, you have to do it through a Chinese company. And a lot of the companies like Microsoft, Sony, they do it through Tencent because they're big enough, they have a big enough distribution footprint that they can pull it off, typically speaking. So basically Nintendo isn't selling Switch directly in China, they're doing it through Tencent. And Tencent's also handling a lot of apparently they're handling the online infrastructure and stuff over there.
And you wonder why I'm aiming at Tencent more than Nintendo.
That's the implication. I don't know if that's true. Because it would just be kind of weird that Tencent is handling the online infrastructure when Nintendo has to handle the online infrastructure everywhere else.
Yeah, as I said, considering what region it's getting worked with and who's working with them there, I say that at least gets you on that point.
My only thing is if the online is just as shitty in China as it is over here in terms of the quality of their eShop.
Oh, come on!
Maybe they aren't charging. If they're charging you money for that, you guys shouldn't pay for it.
Red, you are seriously.
Look, it's not my fault they're online shit. Look, I didn't tell them to do it.
Oh, I'm getting on your case with this part because seriously, I'm blaming the people that cried and cried for paid online and people like them, I'm really getting on their case. You have been
reading my posts and listening to my videos for a long time. And did I ever say, I wasn't one of those people. So I literally can say, if it's shit.
Trust me, I know it's not you. It's not me. Shit. So don't start on me on that part.
I'm not gonna make
blaming the people that
it's shit.
Oh no! I'm being sure I know who.
And I'm not paying for it either.
And yeah, because you're cheap.
No, if it was.
Yes, you are.
If it was.
No, there are principles involved.
Look. It's not even a principle thing. If it was, in my opinion, if it was worth it, I wouldn't.
I'm getting on your case with this so much more on this after the cast. Seriously,
it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. It's not.
It is worth. It's worth it more than Sony's. That's for being sure.
Yeah, but that's like saying, let's see.
Oh, you can start on this all over again.
That's like saying, would I rather be punched in the crotch or just slapped in the face? Yeah, obviously I'd rather be slapped in the face, but I don't want to be hit either way, really. At the end of the day, I mean.
And you wonder why I blame the people that cry for paid online and not you. Really?
Your
Seriously?
argument is essentially kind of like saying, well, you're going to get hit either way, so you'd rather take the lighter hit. I don't want to get hit either way. I don't,
Hey,
I don't like violence either way.
I'm looking on the positive side of this stuff and trying to be sure I know where the blame is aiming at, and that means I actually look before I speak up.
So you take the lesser getting fucked over than the bigger getting fucked over. Because either way, you're getting fucked over.
Red, you are
one is
such
worse
an
than the
asshole
other.
at this point. Seriously.
Well, it's true. It's true. I mean, Nintendo's online is shit. Sony's online
no,
is
it's
shit.
Not that bad of a it's not that bad of a system.
They're both shitty, but Nintendo's online is cheaper, and you're not spending as much money to get fucked over.
Come on. It's a lot better than Sony, and you know it.
Nintendo's online isn't getting hacked.
No, it hasn't.
It's not getting. I just said it's not getting hacked. Nintendo's online isn't getting hacked, but I mean, you're paying for a very mediocre service.
Well, I mean, I would argue that Nintendo's service isn't getting hacked, but I would argue that Microsoft and Sony offer a bit more for their services.
Well,
Sony.
Yeah, because they're trying to make it all about the money and charge you more for it. I'm going to say it right now.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Sony's online does offer you more. The thing that sucks about Sony's online is that, like I said, it seems like every 3 to 4 months it's down or it's being hacked, which is why it's kind of like at the bottom of the barrel for me, because I don't want my personal information getting out there. And I mean, what's the use of having an online service when it seems like, every 3 or 4 months it's down? What were you going to say, Kenoshi? Sorry to cut you off.
I was going to say, Sony offers you deals, particular deals with their PlayStation Plus subscriptions all year round. And even they offer deals for their first-party stuff. And Nintendo, they're really stingy when it comes to offering deals for the first-party First-party outings.
Their first-party stuff, it kind of doesn't really... it doesn't go on sale, but I can understand that because Nintendo has pretty much a monopoly with their first-party stuff.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Again,
I'm not going to knock their hustle with that.
People are willing to buy those games at full price.
Yeah, I'm not going to knock their hustle with that. What I will say is that the eShop's sales in terms of like third-party shit, for the longest time, I have to admit, the first 2 years of the eShop's life on the Switch, the sales that they had for the eShop was shit on third-party games. I have to admit, this year it seems like I would say towards for the last 6 months, the end of last year, this year, their eShop sales have gotten a lot better. Like I saw a game that was originally like $19.99 for like $2.99, and I'm like, wow, that's a really good deal. You're looking at almost Steam levels of sales, which. I mean, kudos. That actually is better. The eShop still doesn't really have any moderation, so you get a lot of shit up there these days. But the fanboys who wanted a paid online service, that's what they wanted. They said they were like, I don't want Nintendo curating anything. I want a free market where anything can go. And I was one of those people who's like, I really don't want a lot of shit on the eShop. That's just me. I mean, say whatever you want to about WiiWare and the beginning years of the Wii U's online, but I mean, when it was curated, you pretty much knew anything you saw on the front page was going to be good. There's some shit on the front page now where it's just like, really?
And I blame those people for all the stuff that's with the Nintendo Online system. At least the majority of it.
For real though.
I said majority. I didn't say everything.
No, I
had to correct myself.
I was being facetious, but seriously though, I can't. I can't get behind it. But with that being said, let's move on. We already know Jules going to disagree with me. She's going to put it on Tencent, not on Nintendo. I'm going to say both of them are fucking up. I guess Kanoshi, you'll agree with me, both of them are fucking up in China.
Yeah.
Okay, then. We'll keep it moving. Apparently France and Spain are suing the shit out of EA for their FIFA microtransactions. The equivalent of their Supreme Court is going after them with their aggressive microtransactions. I hope they win. I hope this sets a worldwide precedence. Because EA needs to eat shit and die.
I was about to say, did you see that? Did you find that logo somewhere on the internet? Because that's what most people are saying about EA most of these days.
No, I didn't, but I'm just saying.
Especially with their sports games, I could agree with you on that.
But I mean, here's the way I feel about it. I know this is gonna sound kind of bad, but I don't really give a shit. The way I feel about EA is, for years and years and years, they've been greedy, right? They got away with basically nickel and diming the shit out of everything. Aggressive
and
microtransactions.
everyone from kids to elders.
Yeah, well, aggressively microtransactioning everything. They bought mobile developer PopCap. PopCap Games made Plants vs. Zombies.
Bejeweled and Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit about Bejeweled. I hate that game. If it was a person, I'd kick it down a flight of steps. But
I was about to say, it's one of the more popular match 3 games, if anything. So if anything, I have to deal with watching this.
I guess I never really, I never really got into it. But Plants vs. Zombies was a legitimately good tower defense game, which the point of the game was you would basically, you played this guy who was living in your house and a zombie apocalypse happened, and
the only defense you had are seeds.
Yeah, this guy named Crazy Dave was selling these insane plants out of the back of his van, and you could buy the shit from him and then plant it in your yard, and these mutant plants would grow and fight the zombies off for you. And that was it. Like, you basically, it ended with you taking on the guy who released the zombies, Dr. Zomboss, who himself was a zombie as well. Anyway, you got to fight him with
he took his own medicine.
Yeah, and basically you had to defend different parts of your house. So, like in the beginning of the game, I think you defended the front yard, and then the backyard at night, and then the pool at night, and then finally the roof. So it was like a nice little thing. And I have Plant vs. Zombies on my PC. I actually bought that game legitimately, so I have the original version on my PC. I have Plants vs. Zombies on my DS, on my 3DS. I mean, I really like that game.
I was about to say, that game is nearly everywhere.
Well, it was everywhere. And then EA had PopCap make a sequel. Guess what the sequel was? A smartphone microtransaction bullshit.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah,
they ruined Plants vs. Zombies. They ruined it. And then they made a third game, which was like a modern warfare.
It's a shooter?
Yeah, it's a fucking shooter with no single player. So basically, all the shit you liked about Plants vs. Zombies is gone. PopCap doesn't even make those types of games anymore. So yeah, isn't that great?
I was about to say, if it's not EA, it's another group that's putting game companies to the slaughterhouse.
Activision. They did the same thing with the Angry Birds people, but except Activision did it. So basically what I'm saying is this. EA, fuck you.
Yep.
GameStop is falling apart, and I hope I live long enough to see EA go down the shitter too. Not because, I feel sorry for the people who will lose their jobs, but hopefully they're talented enough to go someplace else. But as far as EA itself, fuck EA. Fuck that company. They've ruined so many great franchises. They ruined Mass Effect. They ruined studios. They ruined BioWare. They ruined Maxis. They ruined Origin. For those of you who don't know what Origin is or are too young to remember, Origin, before EA fucked it up, used to be back in the day. Origin used to be run by a game developer named Richard Garriott. For those of you who don't know who that is, he's the guy who created Ultima. Yeah, that
the
Ultima
Online series from id.
Well, Ultima Online was published by EA, but Ultima basically was made by Richard Garriott, who basically, there's like 9 fucking games in the series, and all of them were headed up by Richard Garriott, and until you get to like 7 to like 8 and 9, when EA really got into fucking up the series. But basically what I'm saying is this. Great series, great like computer RPG series. EA fucked it up. Bought the guy's studio, and now it's just the name is just the fucking
a shell.
Well, it's not even a shell. The studio's gone, but the name of the studio's there for their shitty online service. Speaking of shitty online services, EA's online store, Origin. And before anyone says, well, don't you have it on your computer? The only reason I have Origin on my computer is because I bought Dragon Age Inquisition, and occasionally they'll give you free games on Origin. And look, if it's free, I'll take it. Even if it's shitty, I'll take a free game.
I was about to say,
actually, that's not true. That's not true.
This is from somebody that complains about Nintendo.
There's some games that... Yeah, but
EA...
Nintendo's not giving me free games on the eShop. Even shitty free games I'll take.
You got low peeping standards.
No, look, if someone gives you something for free, unless it's some farted out shit, then you let it go. But if someone gives you something for free, take it.
Yeah, free sheep and getting it for free.
No, how do you think I got Wonderful 101 and what was it? Wonderful 101 and WarioWare Shake It? Not Shake It. WarioWare shit, I forgot. I got it free when I got Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I didn't buy those games.
I was about to say.
What you think? You think I was gonna go and be like, no, don't give me these 2 free games. I want to pay another $60 for these 2. Are you out of your mind?
I was gonna say, if the games are good enough, then you would support them by at least trying paying something.
No, look. If someone wants to give me something for free, I'll take it. But it has to be of some quality. Like there's some games they give away free where I'm just like, nah. I mean, like I have the Epic Store on my PC because I bought the Outer Worlds because there was no way I was waiting for that shit to come to the Switch so I could play the shittiest version of that game. Or I shouldn't say shitty. It's the most downgraded version of that game. And I decided, I have a nice computer. Why don't I play the as best as I can version of that game? So I got it on the Epic Store, but I paid I had a coupon. And I paid like $39 for it. No, like $39 for it because it was a $60 game. I paid $39 for it. So I mean, I got like $20 off of it, so I don't feel bad about it. But like the Epic Store is like the thing is like I have like a lot of free games or games that I got for really cheap, and I don't feel bad about it. People need to understand sometimes you want to play things that are if someone gives you free games or heavily discounted games, go for it, knock yourself out. Especially if it's something that is normally good. I mean, like, I didn't, like, I think, Bug Night, not Bug Night, shit, I forgot the name of that game. Hollow Knight, yeah, Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight, I got on Steam for, like $5 on Steam. Like, why would I pay $14.99 for that game when I can get it for $5? That makes sense.
Exactly.
And then I spent full price for the DLC because I liked the base game so much. I was like, yeah, I like this DLC. I like Hollow Knight. I think Hollow Knight plays a little stiff. I'm glad that the sequel is going to have you play as Silk. Cause she's a lot faster than Hollow Knight is. But then Hollow Knight is just literally a cast-off shell. Spoiler alert, but that game is like 4 years old at this point. If you haven't beaten it, it's on you.
I have a feeling about that already, so thank you for confirming it.
It's in the title, Hollow Knight. He's hollow.
Yeah.
He's empty inside. Now, to figure out why he's empty, that's on you. But I'll totally get shit for free if it's or for free or heavily discounted if it's on sale. Because I mean, why pay full price for shit if you don't have to? Unless it's something that's really worth it, like a Nintendo first party game or a game you really want to support the developers for. Like I pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077.
Reason why I get on your case about some of this, because if anything, I at least try to pay my respects to the ones who make the games.
CD Projekt Red, I mean, yeah, you hear horror stories about how they treat their developers, but they make pretty good games. And, they've gotten more polished over time. Although I'll tell you, those first two Witcher games are rough. Oh, they're rough.
I can admit that one. So, if anything, the only game I don't trust those guys with is Gwent.
What? Gwent?
Yeah, and I'm a card gamer.
Yeah,
so that's an odd one.
I mean, they were trying to jump into that because it was popular at the time. Like, it wasn't because they really had a good reason to get
I know. I'm just saying that
because
somehow
Valve
the
did the same
gameplay of
shit.
it just threw me off.
Yeah, Valve did the same shit with
Artifact,
Yeah.
Oh god, I can rip that into 3 pieces.
They were like, oh, this shit's popular, let's get into it. It's like, just because some shit's popular doesn't mean you can make a game out of it. That's...
Yeah.
As
I said...
There's a lot that goes into these card games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a reason certain card games have been around for a long time, because they've built an established fan base and they have like a whole thing about how they've built a community. Like it's hard to get into that game, man. It's hard. It's real hard,
Yeah.
It's like if another restaurant, like another fast food restaurant on like McDonald's or Burger King wanted to get into the game with burgers and fries and shit, and wanted to be on the same type of tier as a McDonald's or a Burger King, it would be hard to break into that market now.
I was about to say,
McDonald's and Burger
good
King
luck
got it. Yeah.
Good luck surviving year 1.
Between McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, like...
Your buns are roasted.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help but make that joke.
Your buns are toast. But yeah, as I was saying, basically, I mean, I'll get. I mean, Borderlands 3. I really was looking forward to that game, and then I found out it's an Epic Store exclusive for a year. I'll wait till the shit comes out on Steam and get the Game of the Year edition. I'm not going to buy that shit on the Epic Store because, first of all, I don't like the Epic Store overall. I mean, there's one game I got for it because I really was looking forward to that game because I like the studio. And I was like, I don't feel like...
And you were not being patient to wait.
Well, I didn't feel like waiting that long for, an Obsidian open world action RPG because... I mean, Obsidian makes really good open world action RPGs. More in depth, great choice. The shit. Like, if you like RPGs where your choices have consequences, you have to make tough decisions, and with great writing, interesting characters, and that's what you want. I mean, these are the people who make those types of games, and I didn't feel like they were like, well, it's coming to. They're like, well, it's coming to the Switch. It's like, well, shit. First of all, I like the Switch, but the hybrid nature of the Switch kind of...
It's a mixed bag. I'm saying that right now.
Certain games, when they're on the Switch, have to take a certain hit in performance because the Switch is a hybrid gaming device. And, I personally don't like that. So if there's a game where I want to have the full gaming experience and not have it be held back by, the performance. Then I'm going to get it on PC versus the Switch. Although, for first-party games, the Switch is perfect because, aside from Breath of the Wild that crashed twice on me while I was playing it, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that, was fucking chugging to load areas, and Mario Odyssey that was kind of like, had some areas where it was like struggling a little bit. But aside from that, typically speaking, when you have a first-party game from Nintendo on their hardware, there's not going to be any issues. At least for the 5 generations of Nintendo consoles I've played on before this. Well, let's see.
I played up to the NES.
Wii, GameCube, N64, SNES, 6 generations of consoles before the Switch. I didn't have to worry about.
Yeah, you skipped the 64.
No, I included that. If you go Wii U...
I missed it because of anything. I thought you skipped it for a moment.
No, you go Wii U, Wii, GameCube, N64, that's 4,
Okay,
SNES, 5, NES,
I thought you skipped
6.
it for a moment.
No. So for 6 console gens before the Switch, I've never had a Nintendo first-party game that was crashing on their home console. Until the Switch.
Yeah. I haven't had a crash with any of mine, really.
So
any Nintendo game.
Yeah, look, like I said, 6 generations, I never had a problem. It wasn't until I got the Switch that I had a game. I had multiple games.
I'm going to say this. It's a surprise that... I said that's a surprise knowing that a Nintendo game crashed.
Yeah.
But then again, it's a rarity that it happens.
Yeah, but because I had 6 generations of not having Nintendo games crash on first party Nintendo games crash on their home console, and then this generation comes with this hybrid console, and I get 2 marquee first party games crash on the system. Yeah, it's like if you're a straight A student and then you start getting Fs. Yeah, I'm gonna notice that shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's a WTF to me because
Gesundheit.
Really?
Yeah.
That had to happen.
And I'm not gonna be like, well, you've been getting A's, so I'm gonna let it pass with these F's. No, son. We gotta have a woodshed moment with this shit right here, because you know better. That's basically how I feel about Nintendo. It's like, I'm gonna hold you on a higher pedestal because you have done better,
Yes, I know that, and I'm gonna say this, that if anything, those are surprises to me. And also, if those are only in 1 year, I could at least say that that's growing pains, or hopefully you grew out of that mess.
Well, to be fair, hopefully the few Nintendo consoles will, the next few games, hopefully the next few games from Nintendo will perform better. But to be honest with you, I've bought, I got Smash Brothers. I didn't get Mario Kart 8 because I already have that game on the Wii U, and I'll be goddamn if I'm gonna pay $60 for shit I already bought. They're like, well, we got the battle mode that should have been in the game in the first fucking place. And then Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, so I can pay a full $60 for Funky Kong.
For one character?
You pardon my French, but you can go funk yourself for that one.
That I could say that was probably their middle finger to the Wii U haters.
and that's they can go funk themselves, and yes, I meant to say that. Let's see, what else? So, and then let's see. I didn't get Lego City because I already had that game on the Wii U, and that's really that game was built to be on the Wii U, so it doesn't make sense to have it on not the Wii U.
Unless they put some extra features or something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have it on PC as well, which is basically the same shit that was ported to the 3 and the PS4 and the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. Like, literally, they took out features to get it to run on other shit. So the best version of that game is on the Wii U. Because you have the dual screen, the asymmetrical gameplay with the tracker and all the shit you can do with it. So, you know, like, I love that game. That's one of my favorite games on the system. So, I mean, you know, like, I have no reason to play that game to get that game on the Switch. I got Breath of the Wild because it came with that. I mean, you know, that was like a day one. You had to have something big to play. Got that. Got Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Got Smash Brothers. I didn't sell it. I gave Smash Brothers to my cousin because I wasn't playing it. Let's see what else. I mean, like, I haven't really been wowed by some of the Nintendo first-party games that have come out recently. Like, and I played Link's Awakening for the system as well. I don't like the remake of Link's Awakening for the system. Because it feels like Mercury Steam made that game without understanding why Link's Awakening was such a great game when it was made. You know what I mean?
Kind of, but they still kept most of the charm of it, which I like. So
I gotta disagree on that one.
It's a mixed blessing.
Yeah, I gotta disagree. Like, basically, the thing that made Link's Awakening such a great thing was that basically it was literally the concepts that you had in Link to the Past, but you know, due to the hardware limitations, they scaled it down the best they could, but you still felt like you were getting this grand adventure. But then to have that grand adventure translated onto hardware that should be, like, they should have added so much more to that game. Aside from almost the one-to-one. The only thing they fucking added was the Dungeon Maker. It's like, really? That's it?
That's the thing that bugs me, that they did keep how the game was in most senses, but they could have added more to it.
Yeah. And that's where I'm kind of like, now maybe if they had done something like, okay, we're going to basically not only are we gonna make this game into like Link's Awakening, but we're also remaking a Link, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, because technically speaking, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons are prequels to Link's Awakening. So, like, that would have been cool if they'd have said, okay, well, guess what? You get to play these two games, and then you can play Link's Awakening, which actually, you know, makes sense. Okay, that would have been cool. 3 games for the price, but you're charging $60 for what is essentially a super HD up-res remake of a game that was like $39 back in the day. I'm sorry, but go fuck yourself. I'm glad I did not buy that game. I borrowed it from a friend of mine and played through it, and I was like, it's okay. And they still didn't fix that shitty ass ending with Marin.
The one that is, if you didn't die, you get to see a little bit extra.
Yeah, that poor girl gets turned into a fucking bird. That's just some bullshit. I'm sorry.
It's kind of a sad, mellow ending to me, because you think about it, she gets her wish to get off the island, but
yeah, she's like, one day I want to leave this island and sing around the world. Hello, famous singer singing around the world? Nah, I'm gonna turn you into a fucking bird, man. Fuck you. That's a shitty ending. I'm sorry. That's some bullshit right there.
It's a somber ending to me, but I agree with you.
That's not somber. A somber ending is Twilight Princess, where basically, like, you go on this grand journey, and it's totally obvious that Midna and Link have this that version of Link had this connection, and Link's like almost like, well, shit, you know, fuck you, Zelda, I'm going with her because she's hotter, and actually, she didn't just fucking abandon her duties as a princess and not fight this ultimate evil. She actually went out of her way to do what she had to do for her people, and you just sat there and just gave up because you're a whiny little bitch.
I was about to say, she pulled a Peach.
Well, not even that. She just like at least Peach has her Ace Coon Boon Mario as her defense force. Like Princess Zelda, just like we can't fight. Everyone give up. It's like really you didn't do shit. You did absolutely nothing.
You did jack and shit.
Exactly. At least Midna, even after she was cursed into a little girl form, an imp. She's like trying to get weapons. She's fucking trying to get a super weapon of her people. She's like helping Link out. She's doing all types of shit to save her people. Zelda, no, we can't fight. We give up. Just because her shitty ass Hylian Knights got their asses kicked by cursed Twilight, really? Man, get the fuck out of here, bitch. I'm sorry, I've never been a big Princess Zelda fan. I think she's useless.
I was about to
even
say,
though the series is called The Legend of Zelda.
And thanks to that, I was about to say, and thanks to that, Princess Zelda has been dethroned as the most useless princess.
No,
Princess Peach has been.
Princess Peach is still the most useless. Princess Peach is still the most useless. The reason why Princess Peach is still the most useless is because, Princess Peach's kingdom is getting steamrolled by Bowser, who's one of the shittiest villains of all time. Ganondorf is a legit threat. Okay, if you're Hylia, okay, if you're Hyrule,
I was gonna say that if you have a serious threat and you give up more than a princess that has a minor threat, really get dethroned.
Because Ganondorf is a legitimately threatening villain, whereas Bowser's a fucking joke. Like the only time Bowser's been dangerous is in Mario Galaxy, where he fucking destroys the universe. It has to be rebuilt. Like that's the only time Bowser's an actual villain. Like most of the time he's just a fucking joke. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever, bitch, whatever, you scaly bastard. You know, whereas, like Ganondorf in almost all his permutations is like, he looks like a monstrous, like big ass ox, but he's actually cunning. He formulates plans. He's got like he's got shit in motion. Like he's a legit threat. Bowser's a fucking joke villain. And so if your kingdom is constantly getting taken over by a fucking joke villain, you're a bigger joke than the joke villain. Whereas, Ganon he's got plans within plans, He's always got plans within plans.
And when I think about it, he even uses the heroes, which kind of hurts.
I wouldn't say he uses the heroes. Like Ganon always kind of like he's always playing the long game, Like, don't let the big, in either form, he's always playing the long game. He's got plans within plans. He's actually competent. Like, whereas Bowser is fucking incompetent, and yet Princess Peach the Mushroom Kingdom's constantly being invaded by one of the most fucking incompetent villains of all time. Which tells you that Princess Peach is like, if you're losing to an incompetent villain, you're even more incompetent. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was gonna put Zelda up there as the most useless princess. So I might have to keep Peach up there.
Yeah, because it's like Donkey Kong, right? And I don't mean the shitty retro Donkey Kong where he's like fighting different. I mean Donkey Kong, like rare Donkey Kong. His main villain was King K. Rool, but King K. Rool had a plan. He had weapons. He had fucking army. He fucking built like death weapons and shit. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty goddamn impressive. That's pretty fucking impressive. Whereas, like everyone's like, Mario, he's so badass. Mario, you and your brother are you're a fat, short little plumber. Your brother's a little bit taller than you, not fat at all, plumber. And Princess Peach's defense of her kingdom, she doesn't raise taxes to actually have an army or have weapons. She uses two fucking illegal immigrant plumbers from Brooklyn. Really? That's your plan to save your kingdom? Is 2 fucking plumbers from Brooklyn? Bitch, please. You're a shitty ruler. You need to be deposed. They need to throw you in jail. They need to be like, look, Bowser wants to take Princess Peach and rape the shit out of her. And we're tired of him basically coming into our kingdom, destroying our shit, and trying to rule us. So we're gonna give her to him. Cause she's fucking incompetent. I'm sorry, he wants Princess Peach. Give him Princess Peach. So then he'll stop coming in and blowing up our shit.
Every parody cartoon.
That's basically like she's way more competent in the RPGs, like Mario RPG, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Stars. Way more competent in that game, but in the mainline 2D and 3D games, she's fucking useless. I mean, Mario Odyssey, all this shit goes down. Bowser's fucking attacked her kingdom, destroyed all this shit, and she fucking goes on vacation. Mayor Rosalina is a better, Mayor Paula.
Princess?
No, Mayor, she's Mayor. Mayor Paula is a better ruler of New Donk City, than Princess Peach. Princess Peach is fucking useless. She's garbage. She needs to be beheaded. They need to have a French Revolution and kill her ass.
Jeez.
She's useless. All these damn games, she doesn't do shit. She's like, yeah, oh no. It's like, okay, like the first game. Okay, Mario 1. Okay, look, it's the first game. Shit happens. Mario 3, okay, fine then. He's like Bowser has his shit together. He's got his kids before he disavowed them for that little bastard Bowser Jr. You know, he's got his kids. You know, he's got his shit. He's got airships and an army. Okay, fine then. You know, he's taking over multiple kingdoms, not just the Mushroom Kingdom. Okay, that's a threat. But by the time you get to Super Mario World and Mario 64. And, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, it's like, it never ends. Like, seriously, like, y'all need to get rid of this bitch. She's a terrible ruler. She sucks.
If anything, this is game without plot at that point.
I know people are like, you're thinking too hard about it, but I'm just saying, if you translated this into the real world, she would be a terrible, literally, if there were elections in the Mushroom Kingdom, they might elect Bowser to be the ruler of the kingdom. I mean, he's an incompetent asshole, but Princess Peach is even more incompetent because she keeps on letting him take over her kingdom. But let's keep it moving. That was an unnecessary tangent. I'm sorry. Kindred Fates, a grown-up monster battling RPG that's basically like Pokemon for people who are tired of the boring sameness of Pokemon. Came out.
I'm gonna say this. I may be a Pokemon fan, but I'm actually looking forward to seeing what this game could do, because seriously, there needs to be at least more collection games that can actually challenge the top.
So basically, they were asking for $50,000. They made $685,769.
That's quite a lot more than their goal, isn't it?
Yeah. So what you get in this game, they hit all of their stretch goals. Let me check what these stretch goals are. So here are their stretch goals.
I know one of them was a Switch.
So here are their stretch goals. For getting 60,000, you get breeding mechanics. So they're going to add, breeding.
Bedroom fun.
For 75,000, you can create your own guild. For 95,000, you get more bonding activities with your monsters. For 110,000, you get 25 more monsters you can catch. For 155,000, you got the Nintendo Switch release. For 200,000, you get 50 more kinfolk. For 250,000, you got more environment actions, so you can like knock down trees, lift boulders, set fires, all that type of cool shit.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Huh.
For 350,000, you got co-op. For 450,000, you got new legendary kinfolk, and for 575,000, you get dungeon raids.
And all those were hits.
Yeah. So
it's gonna take a while, but I say that's gonna be something to look forward to.
So I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool. Because if you're a Pokemon fan, but Pokemon's not doing it for you, there's something out there for people who want that Pokemon-like itch, but not the same boring bullshit Pokemon's been doing for years now. So that being said,
that's the reason why I said that I'm more interested in this now that Pokemon's doing DS.
All right. So with that being said, this is just a little thing. 7 failed consoles that made no sense then. I just thought this would be an interesting topic. What is a failed console that you were like, when they announced it, you were like, why are you even doing this? And you were not surprised at all that it failed. Since Kenoshi's been relatively quiet, I'll let him go first. Kenoshi, go.
So 7 failed consoles?
What was a console that, like, you've been alive long enough to where you've seen a console come out, and it was a console that failed miserably. I don't mean like a console that maybe had some good. I mean a console that was doomed to die from before it was announced. Like when they announced it and they explained the concept behind it, you're like, oh, this is fucked. So what was a console that you like remember hearing announced and it was like, yeah, this ain't gonna make it?
PS3.
When they said $699.
Oh, it's over. It's over.
For me, it was the Xbox One where Don Matrick was like, we have a device for people like that. It's called Xbox 360. I was like, oh, shit.
That's a death kiss.
Well, no, and when Jeff Keighley was like, so that's what you're telling people. You're telling people that don't buy your product, get an Xbox 360. And Don Matrick knew he fucked up because he tried to walk that shit back. And I was like, man, it's too late now. You ain't gonna have a job next month. And I'll be damned. I'll be damned. The next month, his ass was gone. I was like, you could see the implosion of the that was when the PS4, like literally, the PS4 is not a good console. But Microsoft's fucking up the reveal of the Xbox One made the PS4 look great.
Yeah. Especially with some of the stuff that happened right before it showed up.
I'll tell you another console that kind of fucked up.
Video game consoles are
the Ouya.
Ooh, yeah. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but make that one.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Okay, the idea of an Android-based console is actually not bad, because Android has gotten consistent. Like Android-based devices have gotten consistently more powerful, geometrically speaking. As with almost every 2 years, you're getting more powerful processors and shit they can do, and like the types of games you can play on an Android have gotten more complex. With that being said, however, I knew the Ouya was fucked when they were like, yeah, we're using an Android. Like when they showed the specs and it was shit that was top of the line like 2 years before. So like really cheap parts. I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna make it. And when the CEO kept on talking about, well, games that you can't play on the, like we're trying to take developers away from the television. Like,
really? That's a really moment.
I was like, lady, do you not understand that, like, basically all the games you're going to get on this device are basically just smartphone games?
And if anything, the controls have to work, which I could bet you that most of those touchscreen games, they're not going to have controller support.
Well, a lot of them do, but the thing is that the reason smartphone games work is because you're only going to play them for like a minute and a half, maybe 2-3 minutes. You know, occasionally you'll get one that you'll play for longer than that, but typically speaking, it's like, okay, I went to the movies and I got here early and I need to kill like 10-15 minutes until the lights go down, you know? So you'll probably, you know, play Bejeweled or Tetris or, you know, some type of time waster on your smartphone. Because, you know, I think I took my Switch to the movie theater once and I played it for like 30 minutes and the battery went down like 20%. I was like, man, fuck this. That's why I don't take it anywhere. The battery sucks. And yes, I have one of the original ones. I didn't get the new one because I'm not spending $300 for a slightly better battery life.
Light?
Well, for a slightly better battery life. I'm not doing it.
I said light as in the...
And I mean, I could spend like $50 or $60 to get a better battery, but I don't feel like opening it up and doing all that shit. And I'm not getting a Switch Lite because I use my Switch as a console, and the Switch Lite is just the handheld. So, like, what? What? That doesn't make sense. And some people say, why don't you get one? Why don't you get the Switch Lite? But you know, you can share a library between multiple Switch devices, but you can't play a game. It's not like seamless switching between both devices. Like if you're playing a game on one thing, you gotta exit out of that and put everything, upload the thing to the cloud save on that device, log out of that thing, then log into the other thing. It's like Nintendo doesn't make it easy to own multiple Switches. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
It's easy to own multiple 3DSs, but not Switches.
Not really.
As far as I got it.
Not really with 3DSs either, because you can't have like one account across multiple 3DSs. Like you have to migrate an account from one 3DS to another 3DS. And it wasn't easy with that, but typically speaking, like I have multiple 3DSs, but I have like one main 3DS, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't like switching between multiple 3DSs. Whereas with Switches or the Wii U, it would make sense to have multiple Wii U's or multiple Switches. Like, it would make sense to have a Switch in your main gaming room and then one by your bedside. Like, that would make sense. Nintendo don't make that shit easy. I guess to keep people from stealing your Switch, but I'm like that's just that goes with the territory. Anything can get stolen. Why make it harder for people to have convenience with their device? I don't get that, but whatever.
That's a bit of a risk-reward system that I think we could argue years over.
I'll take that hit. But anyway, yeah, the Ouya was doomed to fail from the start. The Sega CD and the Sega 32X.
I was about to say, Gamecom.
Yeah, I knew Gamecom was fucked. Yeah, from the start. From that commercial. What?
Engage.
Yeah, the Engage. The Engage! The Engage. The Atari Lynx. With that shitty ass commercial, they were like, 32 plus 32 equals 64. More bits equals better. And then the N64 came out like a year after that, and it was like, yeah, like I looked at because I had a friend everyone had that friend who every new shit that came out they got. This is the same friend who had the Sega TV, and this is the same friend who had the 32X and the Sega CD. This is the same friend who had the Lynx, and I was like, why? Like, they were telling me they were going to get it. I'm like, why? It's going to suck. And they were like, how do you know? I'm like, because it's from Atari.
I would say the Game Gear and the Nomad, because, oh god, those are battery vampires.
The Game Gear wasn't too bad on having the battery. Like, you got like 4 hours of gameplay time, which for a backlit full color screen wasn't that bad. The Nomad, now that That motherfucker
I
was a
said those
battery
were.
vampire.
I was saying those are battery vampires, but yeah, the Nomad is a stronger battery vampire than the Game Gear.
That motherfucker sucked down batteries like a fat guy at a buffet. That motherfucker, I tell you right now, that I have never hated, and I had a Nomad. I still have it. It's not hooked up to anything because the Nomad was basically just a Sega Genesis. That's all it was. It was just a Sega Genesis. And the Nomad wasn't terrible. It was a good idea, but clearly Sega was never going to put. Like, the thing about Sega is that they were so reactive. They were never proactive. They were always reactive, and that's where Sega kind of fucked themselves over. Yeah, I said it. And I know some people are going to get mad. They're like, "How can you say that Sega screwed themselves over?" Look,
When you're trying to be the lead and always are in second place, well,
look.
you're gonna be hungry to try to do anything to get first.
Think about this, okay? Sega between the fourth and fifth gen, Sega released 3 failed gaming platforms. 3 of them. They released the Sega CD, the 32X,
Ow!
and the Nomad. All 3 of those systems cost as much as a console to develop, and all of them failed miserably. They lost
and
billions of dollars.
Console and if anything, 2 of them are console add-ons.
Well, that's the thing. The 32X and the CD were console add-ons to the Sega Genesis, but the amount of money that they had to spend to develop the shit and the parts to manufacture it, it was like it was a console. So basically, they created 3 consoles, and it takes billions of dollars to launch a console. They spent billions of dollars on 3 devices that ultimately failed miserably. And so people are always like, well, the Sega Saturn was a failure. Actually, the Sega Saturn did pretty well. Not great, but pretty well. If Sega hadn't fucked up with this 32X, the CD, the Nomad, if they hadn't spent billions on that, they could have put money to support the Saturn. Like, they could have supported, because see what Nintendo did. Nintendo supported the SNES for like 18 months after the PlayStation came out. No, longer than that, because we were still getting really good games on the SNES when the PlayStation came out. We got Donkey Kong Country. PlayStation was out. We still were getting games for the SNES. And good games too. So, people need to stop with that shit. Oh, it's... But,
And I would say the Vita, because when Sony dropped their support,
yeah,
I knew it was a dead console.
The Vita would have been okay had Sony actually put resources behind it, but clearly they didn't want to do that. They put everything onto the PS4. So
yeah, it's like sending a leaky boat out to the water and try to say that people should get on it.
Well, I mean, it's like you have 2 boats. One is kind of a shitty boat, but it's seaworthy and it's not leaking. The other one's got a few leaks, but it's small and there's not a lot of people in it. So you just put everyone on the bigger shitty looking boat that's actually seaworthy, and you keep it going. And they were like, well, fuck this little dinky boat that's slightly leaky that only has like 3 people on it. We gotta let it go. I mean, business-wise, it made sense. But, because the thing is that from what I heard from people, the Vita was actually a good little handheld, but, they didn't support it.
I was waiting to see what support it could get. And considering that it got abandoned, ooh boy.
Yeah, they didn't support it. They did not support it. So we have a topic here from Dragon Swords. So what did you guys think of the Nintendo's Nintendo Direct for Animal Crossing?
I consider it kind of entertaining.
Kenoshi, your thoughts on it?
I didn't watch it because I'm not into Animal Crossing.
I didn't watch it either. Well, I saw. I didn't watch it. I read the Cliff Notes version that with the information. How can I put this nicely? I'm not really impressed. Not impressed.
Having your plans not ruined by an animal that's moving in and making your own landscape.
I mean,
not impressive enough.
It's not that. Okay, here's. Let me give you a little bit of history about myself and Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is basically a life simulator, right?
A Zen garden to me.
I mean, but it's more or less a life social simulator, right? You go around doing activities to earn bells that you use to pay off your mortgage to Tom Nook, that motherfucker, so that you can own your house, right? Except everything, like in the first year of the game, everything you do, it's going to be given to you by Tom Nook, but he's going to charge you interest on the shit, putting you further into debt. Like real life. It's a life simulator.
At least he doesn't upcharge.
No, a lot of that shit's really expensive. And then when you see how much it costs in other places, you're like, Tom Nook fucked me. Because he's an asshole. But he does upcharge. He does. That's the thing. Tom Nook is a greedy bastard. He doesn't
upcharge as in he doesn't add charge as in he doesn't add more to the initial payment that you have to make.
No, for your house, that's your mortgage. But like the other shit that he gives you, he charges you for it, and it's always overpriced because Tom Nook's an evil son of a bitch. He might be really. You want to know why the villager in Smash Brothers looks like he's a serial killer? Because he wants to kill Tom Nook. He's like, I will kill that son of a bitch. He's evil. He must die. But that's neither here nor there. So basically, yeah. So I played Animal Crossing on the GameCube, and I was like, it was a really good game and the reason I liked it was all the shit you could unlock in it. Like I liked all the NES games that were in that game, and the nice little stuff you could do. It was like a nice diversion from Harvest Moon, which I also had like 3 Harvest Moons on that system because I like Harvest Moon. And Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing share a lot of the same DNA. Like it's a life simulator, except Harvest Moon is you're basically you're raising crops that you're selling in order to earn cash. It's more than that because you can also do ranching and you can take the crops and process them into other things you can take cucumbers and turn them into pickles and sell that. You can take ingredients and make recipes with it. You can take grapes and ferment them and turn them into wine and sell that. Like it's a lot more involved than in terms of making shit than Animal Crossing, but you get the general gist of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like they share a lot of the same shit. So like the things that they're all like, yeah, we're bringing seasons back, and the seasons change with this, and I'm like, yeah, but
I was about to say that that was in Animal Crossing New Leaf and I think other
Animal Crossing on GameCube too, so that's not new. Well, you can build your house. I was doing that in Harvest Moon. Like literally, they're bringing shit.
Yeah.
They're bringing shit that I've done in other games that was done. They're like acting like this is a revolutionary new thing for maybe Animal Crossing.
I was gonna say the only new things I can see in the Animal Crossing is redesigning the locations of where you start and building some stuff and have more customization.
Yeah, they're like you can remodel. Yeah, they're like you could remodel the village. You mean like I could do in Harvest Moon? Like on 6th Gen Harvest Moon, I can do that.
It's funny that you say Harvest Moon a lot because Harvest Moon detracted me from it.
Yeah, Harvest Moon, the latest Harvest Moons after Marvelous stopped making it, not Marvelous, now they call it like Story of Seasons, but before the company that makes Story of Seasons was making it, it kind of went to shit. But before then, it was really good. I would say the sixth and seventh gen Harvest Moons were really good.
Here's the thing, I tried Harvest Moon for the GameCube.
Yeah, those,
I tried. Good. No, actually, I remember it was Harvest Moon for the GBA. I wasn't much of a fan of that one.
That's not really that good. Friends of Mineral Town's not that good. Really, Harvest Moon, believe it or not, is really at its best when it's on a console. Like Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, that's pretty good. Harvest Moon, Story of Life. Like there's a Harvest Moon that's like more realistic. Well, it's not ultra. It's still kind of cartoony, but it's more realistic in that like your character gets older as the time jumps go on. So at the beginning of the game, your character's a young man, and you have to get married at the end of that year. And then there's like a time jump, and your wife gets pregnant, and you have a kid. And the kid grows up, and you can see your character visibly aging. Your wife gets older, and then you eventually get so old that you die, and that's the end of the game. Like it's like kind of like, that's kind of a downer, bro. And then there's Harvest Moon, Melody of Seasons or some shit like that, where it's more like traditional Harvest Moon, where you go around and like you could basically remodel the village and plant shit anywhere. I'm like you guys are acting like this is a big feature when this shit was in other games like this years ago. Why are you just getting to this shit now? You know, like that's basically how I feel about Animal Crossing. It's like you're
I was about to say, now, if they pull off usually the one per console idea, then that means that they are kind of slow to the party.
They're still just getting to this shit now, really? That's how I feel about Animal Crossing. Like, I know a lot of people who are really, like, because Animal Crossing, like Harvest Moon, is a very niche game. The people who are into it are really into it. I used to be really into it, not so much anymore.
I got into it during the Wii days with Wild Town. I mean, City Folk, that's it.
Yeah.
And then I went back and tried the other games a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, I like it, but I'm not like I say I only like the first two. I only like the first two that were localized in America. I know Animal Crossing began on the N64, but it never came to America. So fuck you. The first one that I played is the first one that was localized in America, which is GameCube one. Okay, so
yeah. So in short, you got a little bit more history with Animal Crossing than I do, but
yeah, I like the first one, and I like the one that was on the DS. Aside from that, I'm not really into Animal Crossing, because basically, the amount of shit that you could unlock, because the GameCube one was insane with the amount of cool shit you could unlock just from doing events and playing with the code and stuff like that. Like all those full NES games in the game, like Metroid, all this cool shit. And it just wasn't there in other games, and I wasn't cool with it. I wasn't cool with that. I didn't like that.
If anything, I never went that far back.
Yeah. GameCube was great. The DS one was great. I kind of didn't give a shit about the Wii one because I was playing other games at the time. But yeah, when they did the Direct, I was like, I don't really want to see it. And then when I saw the amount of stuff, I was like, if this is, I hope this isn't your big game for this year. Is just Animal Crossing. I hope you have something else, because I wasn't impressed with it. I was like, whatever.
I was gonna say that they usually announce them only a few months before they're ready.
So this is like their big spring summer game is Animal Crossing.
I'd say it's more of a spring game.
All right. Well, yeah.
I don't know. Even if they don't come out with it this year, I won't be disappointed because I have a huge backlog. So it's not like I'm really looking for games this year.
I mean, the thing is, I have a backlog of games on my PC, but like I have a Switch. I want to play games on the Switch, but like a lot of the first-party games on the system.
I got a good backlog on my own with the Switch. So if anything, I'm not too down in that sense.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of the multiplats, a lot of the multiplats on the system, I got cheaper on PC. So it was like I had a choice.
I was gonna say that the multiplats usually are usually not thrilling, and they usually upcharge you for those.
Well, I mean, a lot of times it's the same price, but just they might go on sale on PC and be cheaper, so I'll just get them on PC. And the first party games, like I said, Mario Odyssey, I didn't really give a shit about. I mean, I bought it, I played it, I beat it, I 100%ed it, and I was like, I really don't want to go back to this game. And then, like I said, Breath of the Wild. How's it going, Dragon?
Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Great.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about, I guess, the lack of there being the usual Nintendo Direct. I guess.
I mean, they did.
I'm having my laugh about that.
They did Animal Crossing, but the thing is that I just don't really care about Animal Crossing, so it wasn't like, oh my god, this is awesome. I was like, okay, Animal Crossing.
For me, it's not bad. It's kind of like a fun little candy.
Well, the thing is that for me, the itch that Animal Crossing scratches, I already get that itch scratched with Harvest Moon, so. And Harvest Moon scratches it better for me.
Screw that up.
So with that being said, we have one last. Anything you want to add, Dragon, about the topic before we move on to the last one? Anything, Dragon? Dragon?
I'm not really that surprised if there isn't really, because there's still a lot of games they've announced that have yet to come out. Like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully it'll get better. I hope they announce something that gets me excited to turn on my Switch again. Because right now, the only game I've really been playing on my Switch is Persona Emblem. I know it's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE.
Cross. Yeah.
But I call it Persona Emblem because that is a lot. That is a mouthful, dude. Why'd they come up with that name? That is a lot of shit to go through.
I think it's probably because of how it's more of a Japan-like thing.
I know, but I'm just saying that's a mouthful. Why is it that so many JRPGs have these long ass fucking titles? Just these ridiculously long titles. It can't be just like it's Final Fantasy.
That's a game trope. I'm gonna say that right now. It's a game trope.
No, this is a brand new thing. This happened in the 7th gen, because in the 6th, the 6th gen, because in the 5th, 4th, 3rd gen, it was like this is Final Fantasy. This is Dragon Quest. You know.
Yeah, I was saying that this is a game trope right now, as in all these RPGs getting interestingly weird titles.
They're like, this is Fire Emblem Echoes of an Elusive Age. Man, who needs all this fucking title? Shit, just name the damn game. Shit. It's Dragon Quest 11. God damn it. Stop adding all this shit to this title of this damn game. Shit.
As I said, this is what happens when you get one of those game tropes.
I'm gonna do a Kickstarter in Japan and call it. I'm gonna make an RPG called. Unending Fantasy, Heroes of the Dominatrix of the Unrelenting Tide of Darkness and Light of the Ecliptic Moon Horizon, Part 7. And I guarantee, I'm gonna say I'll make this game if you give me 20 million, if you give me 2 billion yen, and it's gonna go gangbusters. I'm gonna take the money and run. I'm not gonna make that damn game.
Now you're just troping me here.
I don't give a shit. Look, if you're dumb enough to name some unnecessarily long ass, convoluted ass title. Remember back in the day, games were like, this is Final Fantasy 2. This is Persona 3. This is Dragon Quest. This is Lufia 3 and the Ruins of Lore. Okay, there's gonna be some ruins in this shit. Why do you have to have all these damn names, man? Just shit. I don't need all this shit. Just say it's this game in the series. Damn. I don't need all these damn names. But anyway, Platinum's Hideki Kamiya says he wants to make an Okami 2, a Beautiful Joe 3, a Dante versus Bayonetta, a Devil May Cry 0. He wants to make
That's as likely as Konami getting their games together, as in their video game and their card games together. Unlikely, and they're likely going to half-ass it.
I mean, Capcom these days is starting to pull their head a little bit out of their own ass. I'm not saying it's been perfect, but just a little bit of pulling their own head out of their own ass. What I would like to say, I wouldn't really want another Beautiful Joe because, I mean, let's keep it real. Like, here's the problem with Platinum. They make games for gamers. Their game's difficulty curve is non-existent. Like, the game started a little bit easy.
It's high.
The game started a little bit easy, and then they kick you in the nuts. And so if you're a hardcore gamer, Platinum is your friend. If you're not a hardcore gamer, Platinum is not easy to get into. Yeah, it's not easy to get into. Like, if someone says, I've never really gotten into Mario, what's a good game to start with? I would tell you any 2D Mario is good to start with because they have really good difficulty curves. They teach you the basics, and then, like, by the end of the game, you're doing shit that you never would have thought. Had you never played that game and just saw, like, if someone had never played a 2D Mario game, and you showed someone doing a Star Road level, or a Rainbow Road level, or a Champion Road level, and you see the amount of difficulty that someone who's mastered that game can get through easily, and then you tell someone, if you play this game the way it's meant to be played, and you start at the beginning, by the end of the game you'll be able to do the same shit. You can't do that with a Platinum game because their difficulty curve is like insane. And here's
I was about to say, it's like a
Platinum fan.
It's like a scary roller coaster.
As a Platinum fan, as someone who's beaten all the Platinum games that are good that I've played, I've beaten and 100%ed, and I'll tell you, their difficulty curve is bullshit. Like, I would not recommend Platinum. There's only like 2 Platinum games I would recommend for people who are casual gamers: Transformers and Okami. That's it. Those are the only 2 I could say. Well, if you want to get into Platinum games and you don't want to have difficulty that's just soul crushing after the first few areas, those are the only 2 I can give you.
Not Bayonetta 2?
Bayonetta, once you like Bayonetta has a decent difficulty curve for the first act, but once you get into Act 2 and Act 3 and start getting to some of the more like challenges,
heavy,
it's soul crushing. Like fighting against Rodan.
Oh boy, that
motherfucker.
He can make you rage.
Yeah. Nah.
Does he?
Have you played the challenges in order to unlock him as a character in that game?
Oh
played,
boy,
like,
yeah.
normal difficulty.
Shit.
Yeah.
That dude, his challenge, basically all of his. Oh man, no. The Platinum. That's their flaw as a developer. Their flaw is their greatest strength. Okay, as a fan of Platinum, I enjoy that they make games for gamers. As a fan of them, I enjoy they make games for people who are core gamers. But the problem is that they make games for core gamers. Their games have no easy introduction, and they don't teach you the necessary skills over time for mastery. Like, if you see a high level player of any of their core games playing like in-game material, and then you show someone who's never played those games, they are doing shit that a normal gamer can't understand. And they've always been like that. Even before they were Platinum, they were like that. Like, you play God Hand. Play that game on level 4. Level 4 mastery. Where the enemies are like just insane, just trying to murder you.
They could beat you. As in, if you're not careful, you're gonna end up one shot, right?
Well, not one shot, but they're gonna kick your ass. Like Platinum, like here's what I appreciate about Platinum. A lot of games, when they want to make things difficult, they make enemies have more health. Platinum doesn't do that. When Platinum wants to make enemies more difficult, they make them start using...
They give them new powers.
New patterns. They're using new attacks that they never used before. They fight smarter. They gang up on you. Like, Platinum knows how to raise difficulty, but the problem is that their games, if you aren't used to playing Platinum games, their games are, like, really fucking hard. like unfairly hard.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the flaw with Platinum. But then again, like I said, I think most of the people who work at Platinum are hardcore gamers, and you can tell how they make their games. Their games are very core based. Like I say, the only semi-casual games I would say that Platinum has made that you could get into is maybe Star Fox Zero, maybe Okami, and no, maybe Star Fox Zero. Yeah, Star Fox Zero, Okami, and maybe that Transformers game. That's it. Those are the only games that I would say, if you've never played a Platinum game and you want to get into their games and kind of understand their design philosophy, those are the best games to kind of get into. Aside from that, no.
You're not going to be in there easy.
Because it's just the difficulty curve is, it's like it starts off a little bit easy, they teach you a few basics, and then they're like, okay, you got it? Good. Throw your ass out the window. I don't have a parachute. Learn to fly. That's Platinum.
I would say that by the time that you get to level 3 of their games, you're on your own.
Well, not really levels. It's just like they teach you a few of the. I mean, you don't have to look any farther than the original Wonderful 101. Like the first tutorial area where you're playing as Wonder Red trying to rescue people on the bus. You learn a few basics. But then there's like a whole subgenre of shit in that game that you wouldn't know unless you looked at a FAQ, or walkthrough. You would have no idea about that shit unless you read the thing. It's not even in the manual. I mean, it's like, it's not cool that there's all this extra shit in a game that you don't even know about. They don't even tell you about, and you wouldn't know unless you fucking read a manual. That's not cool.
Yeah, they were doing that before Dark's popular.
Yeah. Because I mean, personally, I don't think Dark Souls is hard because it's a particularly hard game. Dark Souls is hard because it has cheap bosses and enemies that like to attack you from the blind side. Well, I mean, the controls are good for what they need to do, but it's just very like they like basically having like boxes and enemies jump from out of boxes or come from blind corners and attack you. They love doing that in Dark Souls games. I don't know why. I think that's just bad gameplay.
Game design.
Yeah, because I mean, that's not difficulty. Difficulty is having enemies fight smarter, or take it, or be cunning and canny. Have AI that's cheap,
Yeah.
that fights smart. Like okay, if you're playing a open world game, open world action RPG, right? Like harder difficulty isn't these enemies are bullet sponges. Harder difficulty is, okay, these enemies who before might have been fighting by themselves now are in groups, and they'll flank your ass. Like a dude will shoot at you, another guy will go around and flank your ass. Or a dude will tie you down, and a guy who's a backstab guy might come around and attack you from behind. That's difficulty. Difficulty isn't, it just takes more damage. That's why Bethesda's difficulty curves in their open world games is bullshit, because all it is just, these enemies have more health. That's not difficulty. That's just not fun.
That's HP sponge.
Yeah, that's just you just made this dude into a tank. So, anyone have any other topics they want to bring up before we wrap things up?
I mean, as far as like Nintendo potentially announcing anything new or just re-announcing it, which games that have yet to be like, I guess, announced like new details of. I guess we'll go through the list. So there's No More Heroes 3, there's Bravely Default 2, there's Rune Factory 5, there's Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and Panzu Dragon remake that was supposed to come out around this time, but unofficially got delayed.
Yeah, but we knew that game was going to get delayed because it's Sega. It's Sega. So basically, here's what we know about Nintendo, okay? This year, 2020. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but me personally, I don't. I think Rune Factory 5 is going to get delayed to next year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think Rune Factory 5. What other game did you announce?
Huh?
Dragon. What other game did you say that they talked about but they haven't said anything about?
Well, I mean, there's the obvious like Bayonetta 3 and Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Okay, Shin Megami Tensei 5. They've been really quiet about that. I don't know if that game's going to come out or not. Bayonetta 3 might come out this year. Might. I'm using big mights here. Like, these are big ass mites.
Where's your air quotes?
These are big ass mites. These mites might be crabs. That's how big these mites are.
Yikes.
As far as let's see, Bayonetta 3 might come out this year, but it may or may not. I don't know. What else?
The Pikmin 4 that I think apparently Miyamoto said it was like almost done, but that was like a few years ago.
Yeah, he said that a few years ago. Man, look, listen, when Miyamoto says something is almost done, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I don't, this is the man who said, a bad game delayed can eventually become good, but once a bad game is released, it's bad forever. And goddamn it, he was right, because people are still talking about Fallout 76 being shit.
That game is still getting roasted.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So, I mean,
it makes me happy and sad at the same time, knowing that such a potentially interesting game got roasted.
Well, to be fair, the idea of an online multiplayer Fallout sounds cool, and had it been handled well, it could have been great, but it's Bethesda, so you knew they were going to fuck it up. Oh, yes, But yeah, our final... but, I mean, basically, I think some of those games are going to get pushed back. I'm just saying.
Hey.
We've been seeing delays, like, recently.
Yeah.
And I think Nintendo will be better to just announce the dates or years when they're really ready instead of just like announcing them early and then just delaying right there. Like, say like it's in development and just that's it.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is like they have to have some big game that's coming out this year.
I was about to say, everybody cries for new games right now.
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Like I said, I have a lot of games to play, but I want to have some shit that I can play on my Switch because, like I said, like I have the customary Nintendo first-party games for the system, but I also want to, I like buying Nintendo games for my Nintendo system, and like some of the games they have just aren't really interesting to me. But there are some games that they've announced, like I'm interested in Shin Megami Tensei 5. They've been really quiet about that game. I'm interested in Bayonetta 3. They've been really quiet about that game. I'm really interested about Metroid Prime 4, but really just on the down low. I would rather have Metroid Prime 4 pushed onto the next console than it come out on this, because like seeing how games have to be compromised on, some game types have to be compromised on to go on the Switch. I'd rather it be put on, not be compromised in order to be on the Switch.
Yeah,
would anybody be surprised if the Breath of the Wild sequel ends up being the swan song to Switch?
Being like the end, the end? Well,
yeah.
I mean, no, because I think they can get that game out quick. The reason I think they can get that game out quick is because the reason Breath of the Wild has the issues it has and wasn't quite, didn't have quite the shit that it should have had, in my opinion, was because
I'd say it kind of got shafted when it was with the Wii U.
Well, I mean, that's a part of it, but also that engine. They had to get that engine to work because that engine is really complex and really fiddly and really easy to break, as people have shown with, figuring out how to
Some of their meme.
Take a cart, hit it with stasis, hit it with a hammer multiple times so it'll go flying in the distance, get in the cart, duck down, and then have the shit launch them across the river, like in the Hyrule Castle, skipping a whole bunch of shit. That shit is possible because that engine, while it is amazing, amazing physics engine, because there aren't a lot of restrictions on the system, it's easy to break. And there was basic shit they had to get. That's the reason why you only had like 7 enemy types in that game. Well, actually, like 9.
I thought there was 8 before you count the bosses.
Well, like 9, really.
Okay.
Like base enemies 9, because you had the Lizalfos, but you had the Moblins, the Bokoblins. You had the let's see who else. The Guardians. You had the Hinox. You had the Choo-Choos. You had the the Lionels. You had the Lionels, and then you had the the 9th. The Wizrobes. Okay.
Oh, those Wizrobes.
And I know some people are gonna say, well, what about the other enemies? The other enemies in the game, and I'm saying these were like actively trying to kill you enemies. I don't mean the wildlife. Actively trying to kill you enemies. The other enemies in the game were, I mean, like the quote unquote Stalfos in the game were just the skeleton frames of the Moblins. Like, even the alternate enemies were just skeleton frames of enemies that were already there. So those aren't new enemies. That's just, the old dev trick. So, I mean, a lot of the same enemies over and over and over again, and then just palette swaps for them, Oh, this is an ice Stalfos. This is a desert Stalfos. This is a desert Lizalfos. This is an ice Lizalfos. This is a water Lizalfos. It's like, no real dungeons in the game. Okay, that's not true. You had, like, 5 real dungeons in the game. Well, 4 dungeons in Hyrule Castle, so 5.
Yeah, that's 5.
So, maybe they'll fix it with the next one. But I mean, really, the engine was the hardest part of getting that game to work. So now that they have the engine, they can refine it and get that shit out. Hopefully, they'll have some real fucking dungeons in this one with actual items that you can use that don't break, and tools and shit that you can use. That'd be nice. But probably not, because they're in love with this shit. Because the problem with Eiji Aonuma is that he tends to focus on one thing to the detriment of other things when he makes a Legend of Zelda game sometimes. Not all the time, but when he does it, you can tell. Because he did it in Wind Waker. They were so obsessed with that sea open world thing that other shit suffered. And that's why Wind Waker didn't have like enough dungeons to make up for the progression that was going on in that game. They did it with Skyward Sword, where they were so focused on motion control that there's like this awesome aspect of, oh man, you're in the sky, you're flying around on a giant bird. Too bad this huge sky feels fucking empty, except for a few islands. Like Eiji Aonuma, like if he doesn't overly focus on one thing, it can be awesome, but it's a hit or miss type thing with his Legend of Zelda games. But I mean, Shigeru Miyamoto's hit or miss too, because the first Legend of Zelda, people consider that to be a masterpiece. Legend of Zelda 2, Legend of Zelda 3, masterpiece. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, masterpiece. Majora's Mask, some people love that game, other people hate that game. I personally, initially I was like, I don't really like it, but now I think it's pretty good. It's a little short, but it's still pretty good. Wind Waker, some people consider that to be a masterpiece. Other people consider it to be kind of meh. I think that it has some good ideas, but the execution isn't quite there. So yeah, Legend of Zelda. I think we'll get Breath of the Wild sooner than you might think. Breath of the Wild 2. I think that'll be next year's big game, and I think they might do another Legend of Zelda, but that'll be a cross-platform thing. Maybe. I don't know. Perhaps.
It's a possibility, right?
It could. I don't know. Cause here's
You don't
the
think
thing.
they're gonna do a? You don't think they're gonna do a Skyward Sword HD remake next year?
I mean, why?
To because they've been doing it, I guess.
I mean,
It's the 10th anniversary, so there.
I mean, they could, but I mean, like,
That's
here's the thing:
what...
Skyward Sword's art style was so good that even if they HDified that game, it wouldn't really add that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't be much. It'd be more of a makeup touch, right?
Like that art style is so anime-ish that HDifying it, I don't think would really, you know what I mean? Like, it just, okay, you made it, like, okay, you made a 400p game, you up-resed it to 7, because if you played Skyward Sword on your Wii U, because your Wii U was backwards compatible with the GameCube, basically with the Wii, you basically already have played HD version of Skyward Sword. Okay. I mean, what, they up-res it to like 1080p versus 720p? There's not that much of a difference visually between 720 and 1080. Unless they go like 2K, but why? Because the art style of that game doesn't really lend itself to being ultra HD. Unless they redid all the textures, and why would they put that much effort into a remaster of that game when they could be putting that effort towards Breath of the Wild 2?
Kind of pointless, isn't it?
I mean, they could. I mean, obviously, the main studio wouldn't handle that. They probably hand it over to Grezzo. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, Grezzo or Mercury Steam, because Nintendo bought some studios that they're handing shit off to lately. So, you it could be. I mean, I'm not personally in love with Skyward Sword, but I know some people love that game, so whatever. Nintendo's been all about the remasters lately, like Xenoblade Chronicles again. God. But that's just me. I don't know. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna stretch the Switch's life cycle out to 6 years versus the typical 5. But I mean, they're still gonna have to come up with something new. So that's why I'm thinking we might get like 3 new Legend of Zelda games, not including remasters, like 3 new ones. I think. I could be wrong because Nintendo's been acting weird lately, so it is what it is. Any other topics you want to bring up before we wrap things up? Anyone?
Not that I know of on the spot.
Nah.
All right. Dragon, anything? Nothing?
What a new, I guess, big Legend of Zelda game. That's, I guess, the first for like a next-gen console. Like, would it have to be released, I guess, in like the same year as that console releases?
I mean, I'm thinking they might do what they did with the GameCube and with the GameCube and the Wii and the Wii U and the Switch, where basically like the last Legend of Zelda game for the system is going to probably be a dual release on both systems. So one's the swan song and one's the start of the new thing. hopefully, I hope their next console is a dedicated console and not this hybrid shit. Because
Yeah, as far I could at least agree with you on this part that whoever thought saying that the handhelds need to go, they need to go away.
I mean, like it's not so much that. It's just like I feel like their home console is being held back by the hybrid nature of the system is holding back the home console games. Because some of the home console games, like typically speaking, when Nintendo comes out with a new home console, the games you get on it feel like something you could not have gotten on the last console. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Wii U, as much as people love to hate on it, it actually did a lot more than what the Switch has done at times.
Like there's no first party game on the Switch right now that feels like I couldn't have played it on the Wii U. Like first party new game that's exclusively on the Switch. Like I mean, I know some people are gonna get mad when they hear that, like, but that's just how I feel. Like the Link's Awakening remake that could have been on the Wii U. Project Arms that could have been on the Wii U. Splatoon 2 damn sure should have been on the Wii U because that gamepad is really missing from that game. Smash Brothers Ultimate, shit, they use the same fucking assets. They transferred those assets over for most of those characters. That's how they got that game out so damn quick. I mean, you know, Mario Odyssey, that could have been on the Wii U. They didn't want to put it on the Wii U, but it could have been on the Wii U. Like, there's nothing on the system where I'm like, man, this couldn't have been done except anything on the Switch. So
some of those I could agree with, and others I'd probably say that you're stretching a little, but I can understand where you're coming from.
I mean, okay, Project Arms. You're basically, I mean, the big thing in that was the motion control. But I mean, you could have gotten something similar with a Wiimote, with a Wiimote using Wii Motion Plus and a nunchuck. I mean, would it have been as precise? No, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're still flailing around like a madman with that game sometimes.
As I said, your mileage may vary, but I can at least get where you're coming from on that.
I mean, I'm just like the hybrid nature of the system is kind of holding it back. Okay, in my opinion. I know some people will disagree. That's okay. You're allowed to disagree. Everyone has opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Okay. Trinell83 says, I also like Rune Factory because I can forge weapons as far as the city simulator / farm simulator games along with Animal Crossing, New Leaf. Yeah, Rune Factory I liked. I think Rune Factory is the better of the fantasy Harvest Moon games. It's better than Stardew Valley, in my opinion. Trinell83 says, I'm playing Mega Man 01 on the Mega Man Zero collection. It's kicking my butt, but I'm enjoying it on the Switch.
That's some devotion there.
Yeah, Mega Man Zero is done by Inti Creates. That series was done by Inti Creates, and it has a different feel from your typical Mega Man game. But I have to say, it has one of the best endings of a Mega Man series because, like, it gets to 4 and there's definitive ending. I like that because they just kept on stretching out Mega Man and Mega Man X, where it's like this story is so fucking convoluted. And Trinell83 says, I thought Majora's Mask was Eiji Aonuma. Because Miyamoto challenged him to make Legend of Zelda game in a year after Ocarina of Time. Yeah, he was. I never said it wasn't. I'm just saying that, like, you know, the ones that were made by Miyamoto were hit and miss too. At the time, like, some people like Legend of Zelda 2. I think the difficulty curve is it suffers from that platinum difficulty curve where it's like, fuck, man. But that's just me. Yeah. So yeah, those are all our comments. No one has any questions, so I guess we can wrap things up. You guys want to give your sign-offs? Your pimp anything out?
Nah.
All
No.
right.
If anything, I'm kind of stuck. I'm kind of stuck in something, so I'm trying to think about what to do.
All right. Okay, so in order to get in touch with the cast via Gmail, you can reach me at Mr. Red Fox BSBuster at gmail.com or at Twitter at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91 or on Discord. Our Discord is in the bottom of this page. Under the video, you can link to our Discord server and join and ask questions and all that fun jazz and stuff. So yeah, that's the end of the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Enjoy, have fun, do all that fun
And hype
jazz.
responsibly.
That is correct, and hype responsibly. So that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, and yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.
Night.